Studies into environmental psychology have found that when our homes are more cluttered, our brains have a lot more to process. Therefore, we are never able to relax in our home. And if you're like me and you just want a place to lay your head down and relax, today I'm going to share with you 10 ways to reduce all of that visual clutter. And they're all things that I've used myself over the past 6 years. I love diving into research about clutter because it makes me feel more sane. If you're looking around your home feeling overwhelmed, the biggest thing visually that you should start with is obviously our big flat surfaces. So the dining room table, that's my number one. Coffee tables, your countertops in your kitchen. When these things are cluttered, it clogs up our ability to make even simple decisions. Everything feels a lot harder. Years ago, when I first started this minimalist journey, I realized that I had a problem with visual impact. Have you ever heard that before? Is how the things in our home that we see all of the time impact our mental health, our clarity, our ability to just get something done. And as somebody who has ADHD, I often get distracted.
This is Chunky Larry. Chunky Larry comes to our house every day. Chunky Larry does not get along with the other birds. He also has a girlfriend and a baby. And yet, does he let them eat in this? Absolutely not.
And so if you're feeling really overwhelmed in your home, you're not knowing where to start, today starting with a large flat surface, I want you to go to that large flat surface and first find the things that you already know they have a very specific home. Say the anti-bug stuff that we're all using right now in the heat, this goes right near my door. That's an easy win. Starting with the easy things to put away, hopefully we'll start that domino effect to make you keep up the energy of clearing the rest of the visual clutter. But the next thing that I want you to do, once you've put back everything that's obvious, is looking at the trash. As you're pulling out the things and putting them away in their homes, you're probably gonna find some trash if it's a flat surface that you've been ignoring for a while. Throw that trash away. And finally, once we're still stuck on those last few things, we don't know whether we need to buy some more organization, whether it can finally go out the door. We don't have a home for it. I want you to put it in a bag and go hide it away from yourself. Now, you might be thinking, no, I can't do that. I need these things. That's counterintuitive. But if you haven't been able to find a home for them, we think we have to keep these things. We think we've been using them. And in all honesty, we either haven't been using them or it's a very rare occurrence. And that's why we haven't been able to find a home. If you guys have been around for a minute, then you know that flat surfaces, especially large ones, are clutter catchers, okay? And I love a pile. And so knowing that about myself is really important because we have to go against our initial instinct to start piling all of our things and leaving them here for months. We have to make honest and intuitive decisions about where we could find these items that in turn is gonna quiet the visual impact that they're having when they're sitting out on my big flat surface. As luck would have it, visual clutter is something that has been studied a lot, probably because people like me are slowly going crazy. And so they knew they had to do something about it. But the next thing that I started doing in my home years ago was reducing the small stuff. And in reducing the small stuff, saying instead of the 10 pack of chapsticks, I'm just gonna get one of them or a pack of 2, and I'm gonna already have a home for these small things before I bring them to my house. That is a huge win, okay? The small things are going to make their way into our home, and honestly, they're a lot of our most important things. Makeup, hair products, food for our pantry. All of these things are gonna come into our home. And what we need to do is when we bring them in, we need to already have a place where they're going to go, said basket. And those small things that we like to keep out, I honestly like to keep out our remote and I like to keep out a chapstick all of the time on a flat surface because they're things that I want easy access to. And therefore, I learned that they have to have a specific home, a basket or a bin that they're gonna go into every time I use them. The great thing about having a basket, even though yes, these things are still visually out in my face, research has proved that when you take the small things and put them in one specific basket or on a tray, Our brain gets tricked in the most wonderful way into seeing this as one solid object as opposed to a bunch of small ones. Now, functional clutter is a tricky one, and they can trick our brain into thinking that we have to keep it out because it's stuff that I use all of the time. Like, I'm using my microphone case and I'm using my calendar almost every single day. So obviously, I'm going to need this whole basket out on a flat surface in order to remember that it's there. But the trick is that functional clutter like chargers, work stuff, these are items that if we have a specific home where it goes all of the time, we don't have to have this kind of clutter visually out, so we can quiet the area. I'm also thinking about my toothbrushes. Those things don't need to be out on the countertop for me to remember that I need to brush my teeth. They can go back into the drawer and be closed, out of sight, out of mind, and I'm still gonna be able to find that same toothbrush at night while also constantly reducing visual clutter. Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm sweating like an absolute pig. I'm 100% not used to this kind of heat yet, so stand by. But the next thing that I want you to think about reducing for your own sanity is bookshelves or shelving that we're only using for its beauty value, or it's a place that you feel like you constantly have to keep up with the decor and you're moving your decor on this flat surface all of the time because it never feels right. If you've ever been caught in the vortex of clutter moving, then you too will understand how frustrating it can be, and you never feel like you have the magazine perfect look that you're going for. When we first moved into this house, I, of course, was very inclined to put up a bunch of shelving because I just think it looks really pretty. And then I had to rethink some of those choices because I knew where I love this shelf and it is useful. If I had too many, I wasn't going to keep up with cleaning it and it was going to become a stressor for me, trying to keep up cleaning all the visual clutter. Therefore, if you are feeling the pressure to move your clutter around or it's becoming just too much for you to clean, I want you to think about taking out a few shelves, reducing just the decor on the bookshelf, and if possible, having closed storage for those things like your books, and only having that top flat surface to have to decorate or clean up after is going to massively reduce the visual impact on you when it comes to clutter. The next one is something that you might not be realizing you're doing, and it's causing you visual stress, and that is having a lot of competing colors in your house. If you were to go back into my last house and see my home several years ago, I loved a good pattern. I loved lots of different bold colors. And where I still like that, I will say that in the general living spaces of my home, I not only have to have calmer colors, but I have to have non-competing colors. The color palettes that I've picked will repeat from room to room, especially in the rooms that are all connected. So our sunroom, my dining room, and my living room, these are all connected with each other. And if I had a big, bold color or pattern in here, it would be visually distracting. Now you're gonna have to decide, because I also love the bohemian look with all the colors and the patterns. I like that. But if you're like me and you come to a point where, yes, you might like all the patterns and stripes, but you don't feel calm in that space, you have to assess what's more important. Is it your big, bold pattern and colors, or is it having a room that feels calm and peaceful to be in? Okay, I'm not gonna lie, this next one is my favorite, and that is to leave space, leave walls clear, leave shelves empty, even when it makes you feel uncomfortable. And this idea was the biggest thing that changed how my home worked and flowed. Coming from a house where I thought every shelf had to be stuffed, stepping back and saying that I didn't actually have to have any of that, and that I could have walls that have absolutely nothing. And I could have shelves that had very few items on them was weird at first. It was honestly very weird. But once I finally got over the weird feeling, I realized that my brain was able to rest, was able to think. Even when I had some visual clutter out, automatically having walls that you don't have all of the things to have to look at, or shelves that you've stuffed to the max with decor that you don't care about, means that your brain can Focus on new things and adventures that are going to improve your life, because fortunately, you don't have anything to prove to anyone that walks in your house. Who cares if they think your walls are bare? All right, if you're walking around your house right now, do you feel like your decor has sentimental value? Do you absolutely love it? Do you have a story that you can tell about your decor? Or is it just a bunch of things that you've bought, thrown up there, and they have no meaning to them? When I finally started reducing my decor, my tchotchkes that I had around my house, I realized that the only ones that remained were special and worth my time, worth me having to look at and know that I needed to dust them. If you have a bunch of visual decor that you don't like, that you only bought because it was cheap or you thought it looked cute in the store, you are going to realize very quickly that that visual decor just doesn't matter. And if it was to burn up in a fire, you might even be really grateful that it's gone. I realized pretty early on in this journey that the entryway is the first impression that you and all the people that enter your home feel. So therefore, you want your entryway to speak to how you want your home to be. If you want a home that is organized, easy, and decluttered, then your entryway is a great place to start. Recently, I just took out all of our winter coats and I left only vests and rain jackets that we're using for this very specific season. I also moved out all of the winter hats and scarves that we're not using right now when it's extremely warm. And I moved those out of the entryway because we don't want to clog up this area with tons of visual clutter that we're not even using at this point because it's too important of a place to get right. On another note, if you're somebody who is constantly losing your keys and you might stick them in your pocket one day, in your purse another, I want you to think about what would be a very visual and specific place that you could put your keys, you could put your wallet or your phone and your purse in your entryway. So it's always that first thing that you see when you walk in the door and walk out the door. When we give our brains visual cues for those very highly important things, we end up 9 times out of 10 actually starting to do them. Reading the book Atomic Habits finally lit up a light bulb for me into something that makes a lot of sense. If you want to make a new habit like having your keys every time you walk out the door, then you have to start small. So put a hook where you're going to visually see it by the door. And every time that you walk in, I want you to say to yourself, I'm not going to put them in my pocket or my purse. I'm going to hang them on this hook. The more often that we do something and make it as simple as possible, the more likely that you are to keep up with that habit. So amazingly, as a woman with ADHD, no longer do I lose my keys. And I always know where my shoes are and I can always find my purse. And if I was to talk to myself 7 or 8 years ago, I would have laughed right in my face. All right, I'm going to show you. The next one is to reduce the visual clutter that is on your side table in your bedroom. Don't worry, I'm going to show you. I want you to look at your side table and your dresser, if you have one, in your bedroom today, and make a conscious note to self about what you see. Our bedrooms are supposed to be the number one place where we have less visual clutter, because research shows if we have less visual clutter, then it's a lot easier for us to fall asleep, staying asleep, and being able to fall back asleep if we do wake up. So if that's important to you, which it certainly is to me, then reducing that visual clutter in your bedroom to as small as possible is a huge win for you. My old side tables used to be completely crowded with tons of stuff, books that I usually wouldn't end up reading at night anyway. What are you finding right now on your side table? I do have a ridiculously small side table and I know it's hilarious, but I realize that all I really need is a place to put my phone because I use it as my alarm and that's it. Oh, and a chapstick because that's my problem. But that's all I need. If I have a book that I want to read, I can put it on the floor next to it. When I bring my water to bed, I just put it on the floor. But having this super small side table with no drawers means that I'm not just storing anything and everything in that place because it's there. And it's amazing when you roll over and you see that quiet, that calm, peaceful bedside table, how much easier it is to just take a deep breath, roll over and go to bed without all of the thoughts going through your head and your brain bouncing off all of these not needed objects in our bedroom that are just creating a lot of visual impact for us when we're supposed to be our most calm. If you are living in a place of uncertainty about what to get rid of in your house when it comes to visual clutter, think about the 75% rule. That's a great place to start. You want to leave 25% for breathing room in that space. So looking at your walls, I like to have a lot more than 25% without stuff on it, but take down one picture and see how you feel. Do you feel like your eyes have a place to rest now? Do you feel more comfortable in that space having that one wall without a picture on it? And I love this rule because it really works overarching for every place in your home. If you leave that little bit of space for everything to be moved around in your dresser, it's easier to put your shirts away. In your pantry, it's easier to find the food that you're looking for and think about the dinners you want to make if it's not jam-packed. So therefore, if I was to leave you with anything, it is that visual clutter, though deceiving, has a huge impact on how we function and able to run and feel comfortable in our homes. Until we can acknowledge that and stop buying all the junk from the stores, we are not going to be able to live in a home that is peaceful and calm and easy to reset, because the constant visual clutter is going to be a distractor, confusing us and not helping us make the best decision possible for us. So if you've enjoyed this, then please watch one of these videos right here and continue your journey. And of course, I wish you guys all the very best.